Before I get into this story, let me give a shout out to Blackjack20 for sending it to me. This right here is a tale of you only had one job and you blew it. So in this picture, you have a woman by the name of Precious Stevens. She worked as a New Orleans dispatcher for at 911, with emergency. And basically right now, she pretty much threw her whole entire career, her job into the dumps because she was arrested or she's facing or being arrested if she hasn't been already for deliberately disconnecting 911 calls. Like people were calling in 911 and she would disconnect them. Like she wouldn't even listen to the call. She would just disconnect the call if any case of emergency. And as a dispatcher, you're not supposed to do that. You're definitely not supposed to do that. Like, cause you're like the link between that person and them getting help. And if you do that and something happens to that person, then you'll be the sole responsible party. So I'm going to go ahead and get into this article that's coming from Black Enterprise. It was posted September 5th, 2021. A Louisiana emergency dispatcher is in hot water after not following through with her duties late last month. Law and Crime reported that 25-year-old Precious Stevens was accused of hanging up on callers and not retrieving information to assist those in need. A New Orleans Police Department investigation revealed Stevens allegedly disconnected emergency calls and failed to transfer her calls to other dispatchers to do the job. The crime associated with Stevens' action or lack thereof is malfeasance. According to Cornell Law School, malfeasance is described as an intentional conduct that is wrongful or unlawful, especially by officials or public employees. Malfeasance is at a higher level of wrongdoing than nonfeasance, which is failure to act where there was a duty to act, or misfeasance, which is conduct that is lawful but inappropriate. The woman was also accused of interfering with emergency communication. NOPD released a statement regarding the incident. Working as a 911 operator with the Orleans Parish Communications District at the time, she is wanted for allegedly disconnecting 911 calls deliberately without obtaining necessary emergency information or relaying such emergencies to the other dispatchers for aid, the publication reported. The report was taken on August 23, 2021. Stevens' behavior was discovered after quality control assessed several calls during her shift on August 21st and 22nd. The woman has since been terminated, but she is not free and clear from being held accountable for the egregious act. A warrant has been issued for Stevens' arrest. She reportedly went on the run soon after learning her fate. She just made herself look even more guilty, even though they already knew she was guilty. If convicted, Stevens could face up to 5 years in prison for the crime. I'm going to tell y'all, like I told Blackjack20, she's dumb. She's stupid, but she's very ignorant. Like, why would you hang up on these people's calls if there's an emergency? Even if there's a case where you might think it might be a prank call. If you have a call coming through there, you have to take the call. Like, it's part of your job description. Like, I don't know what was going on with her to make her do and act in this manner. But like I said, if something was to happen to the people that were calling in, it would be on her hands. Blood would be on her hands. And that would come down on the department and the people who do the hiring, like HR. And what's scary about this, she's not the only person who has done something like this. But it's scary, though, to know that there are people like her that are working in these departments to do that, to handle these type of calls. It's crazy enough because some people don't even like calling 911 anyway when it comes to an emergency. But when they do, you have someone right here who's literally hanging up on them, not writing down the emergency and not transferring it. She might have a conversation with this person and she doesn't transfer over the information that is needed for them to take on with this. So the people who are there, they are unaware that an emergency even just transpired because she wasn't doing her job. And the fact that she fled, they said she's on the run, doesn't look good on her part either. I mean, they already know that she did what she did. She knows that they know what she did, but she chose to flee anyway. Like, what sense does that make? Just take ownership and responsibility and accountability for your actions and understand that you did a very dumb and ignorant thing and it cost you your job. Like, not only was it everything that I said and more, but it's also embarrassing. Like, what would possess a person to do something like that? And they said that this was a repeated thing. It's not like she did this one time. She's done this on a repetitive basis. They've had multiple complaints. And they finally figured out that it was her, and that's why she got fired. But hopefully they do find her. I mean, it's not like she went out and she took anybody's life like some of the people that probably work in them departments, but still at the same time, what she did is not something to just excuse at the same time. But y'all let me know what y'all think about this down in the comments.